I want to thank my fellow board members and their staff for their preparation and participation in today's meeting. We discussed important topics that will benefit the final report and inform our safety recommendations. As we've heard over the course of this investigation and this meeting, this derailment and hazardous materials release was devastating. It was devastating for an entire community. Norfolk Southern tried to submit their own investigation under the guise of a party submission, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. The investigator in charge reminded them numerous times that under our regulations, parties may submit to the NTSB written proposed findings to be drawn from the evidence produced during the course of the investigation. Evidence produced during the course of the investigation. In other words, parties are afforded the privilege, not the right, to develop proposed findings from the evidence of our investigation. Parties are not permitted to manufacture their own evidence and develop their own set of facts outside of the NTSB investigative process, which is exactly what Norfolk Southern did. Recall, the evidence was derived not from the accident scene, but from commercially purchased products. Our investigator in charge rejected the party submission containing Norfolk Southern's extraneous testing not once, but twice. Norfolk Southern then went to our general counsel and appealed, who promptly and appropriately informed them the investigator in charge has the final say. Norfolk Southern then went around the investigator in charge and our general counsel and sent the material directly to the board members. 5 presidentially appointed, Senate-confirmed government officials via email on May 1st, urging us to overrule our investigator in charge, which has the statutory authority to conduct the investigation and supervise it, and direct the staff to include in our public docket their party submission, which they'd been told repeatedly violated our regulations. This demonstrated complete disregard for the conduct of our independent investigation. In speaking with the investigative and legal teams, Norfolk Southern's abuse of the party process was unprecedented and reprehensible. 2 weeks ago, Norfolk Southern visited each of us. As Member Chapman mentioned, this is a normal part of the process where parties are afforded the opportunity to meet with board members before a final board meeting. In their meeting with me, with NTSB staff from the Office of Railroads, Pipelines, and Hazardous Materials, General Counsel, and Safety Recommendations and Communications present, one of Norfolk Southern's senior executives stated that it was their hope that in this board meeting and in the community meetings, the NTSB would put to rest the quote-unquote rumor that Norfolk Southern made the decision to vent and burn to move trains. That is not only unethical and inappropriate, but defending an entity's decision-making is not our role. Norfolk Southern senior executive went on to say that there's a real interest on the part of the Department of Justice and the administration to move on, something I've never heard once from the Department of Justice or the administration. Norfolk Southern then stated that this is an opportunity to close a chapter and allow the community and the railroad to move on. The entire exchange ended with what everyone from the NTSB heard in the room was a threat, and it was delivered that way, to use every avenue and opportunity to vigorously defend their decision-making in media and hearings going forward. That is your right, but it is not our role to defend Norfolk Southern. We're here to protect the American people and the traveling public. Our entire mission centers around learning from the past and building a better, safer future for all. A few days ago, Norfolk Southern invited board members to visit key areas near the derailment site, as well as their new digital train inspection portal in Latonia, Ohio. While site visits are wonderful educational opportunities, timing matters a great deal. As federal officials, we must observe, among other standards, principles of ethical conduct. We must always perform our duties impartially and never create even an appearance of impropriety. I believe this invitation to visit Norfolk Southern the day before the board meeting would have indeed given the appearance of impropriety and therefore would have constituted a violation of our ethics standards. I struggled a lot for days on whether I wanted to share all this detail with the public, as I don't want to overshadow. I never want to overshadow our findings, our probable cause, or safety recommendations that were issued today. But Norfolk Southern's actions were unconscionable, and I want everyone who works with the NTSB, everyone who works with the NTSB on current investigations and future investigations to understand this. We are impervious to anything but the truth. We are the gold standard when it comes to accident investigation around the world. I will not allow any entity to impugn that reputation or malign the reputation of our investigative staff, our top-notch investigative staff, which is exactly what the aim was, and which is clearly evidenced in their 2 pages that they just released to the press. So today I'm initiating an internal effort with our Managing Director's Office, the Office of General Counsel, and the investigative offices to evaluate our policies, our procedures, our board orders, and our regulations to ensure our agency, our people, our work, the work that we do are adequately protected from undue interference with a federal investigation.